Hi guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs. And today I want to talk to you about our strategy to have an interesting life by surrounding ourselves with intense people, with outspoken people, with maybe needy people, creative people, and us thinking that this is the solution when in the end it's just a crutch. It doesn't really get us to really experience who we are and to really bring out the best that is in us. And how to change that, how to first off understand why we're doing that, and how to reverse it in a way of having an actually more interesting life than we have at this moment, while living through all of those intense people around us. I talked a little bit about this on an IGTV video that's also on Facebook, but it was like a rather short version and I wanted to get into it a little deeper on here. So let me just explain what I mean. A lot of us, and I hear it more often and from a lot of people, we tend to surround ourselves with people who are very opinionated, who are actually really intense when it comes to how they experience their life. So they're really sensation seekers. Sometimes we get surrounded, or we surround ourselves with people who have borderline qualities in them, that they're really, really sad at one moment and then really happy at another moment. And that kind of always break boundaries of what is normal behavior. And we do that because that way we feel, okay, if we are surrounded by intense people, then we can feel this intensity without having to really do it ourselves, because that is actually a sensation that is too much for us. It comes from having our lowest function, as sensation, and us being very sensitive to that. And so you kind of have this feeling of, okay, I want this in my proximity, but I don't want it happening to me. Therefore, that's the way we can do it. And I also see it in my brother. It's really interesting. My brother is an INTJ and he's 20 now. And it's really cool for me to see, because it's this stage of, you're not that developed at how I am at 32, he's 20. So I see a bunch of stuff he's doing that I was doing at his age, and he's hanging out with people who are more maybe a little bit more dangerous in a way, I would say, than him, get in trouble more often, who just don't live this this life that he's actually living on paper. If you would look at my brother, it's he's never broken the law. It's he's doing really good in college, all of these things. And it's really similar to what I was doing at that time. And at the same time, I was surrounding myself with people who are getting in dangerous situations, who either drama queens at the same time. And it's it's just the same thing. And then I hear from other INFJs similar stories. And so I realized, okay, this is not just something that happened to me. It's really it's a phase maybe, or it blends out, but it's just something that happens more often because we are sensation seekers, but not in a way that we want to experience it right here. And the problem with this is, of course, that you have to really dive into other people's worlds to feel that sensation. So we go in too deep. So because people who tend to be very intense most of the times, especially if they're not not balanced, which they're not, because otherwise we wouldn't choose them. But I'll get back to that in a second. But so those kind of people, they have some kind of difficulties with getting their life in order and being very balanced. They're more up and down and have all of those strong emotions. And we, on the other hand, are rather balanced. And so in order to kind of get that other side of that, we tend to go for those kind of people in our life who are more intense. And and we just try to kind of feel their intensity. And it's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for us very often, because we don't actually stop them. We want them to experience those intense emotions, because that way we get to experience those intense emotions, and we don't have to really make sure that we look inward and and confront our own emotions. In the end, it's like a fear of control, confronting who we are, of investigating who we are, and we're doing that by going for those people. And since we're like not balanced at that point, so maybe when we're younger or when we just haven't thought these things through, we've had like really a bunch of situations throughout our life that has caused us to go there. Like I don't know how many people can actually get there without really having hit some kind of rock bottom and realizing, okay, I can't do this anymore before we change. So I think that's a very common thing, but it's not healthy what we do. We try to not feel any of those sensations through ourselves, and so we can neglect ourselves. And so since this is unhealthy, we go for unhealthy people who do it in the exact opposite way, who feel their emotions very intensely, who are all about experiencing what's happening to them. And we try to counterbalance that, but of course it's not working. And the solution to this is, of course, that we realize no matter how much you feel you can experience life through others, there's always something missing, and you'll always feel this is not perfect. You'll see these people are having a lot of fun, or they have like this crazy emotional life, and you want more of that, but you never have it. You just always want more, and it seems like you can never have it because it's like you experience it on TV pretty much. It's like you wanting to have an exciting life, and you just go for watching an exciting movie. That's what it is. It's never really yours, and you can't grow it. That's the thing. And specifically, if you have other people involved, there is you kind of will, even if it was subconsciously, you're going to try to control those people so you have these intense emotions more and more often. So as I said, you might tend to let them do things that are not the healthiest for them, because you feel like, who am I to interrupt like what they think is right for them? But at the same time, subconsciously, you gain something from it, because you get to feel like this intense rush without you getting into like a risky position, without you, really confronting what you want, and so on. When in the end, if you're healthy and you have a friend who's like bringing themselves in intense situations which are too intense for them, they might not be too intense for you as like the observer, but it's too intense for them, we don't stop. If we are good with ourselves, we will stop them. We will not think, okay, who am I to tell them what to do? You will try to stop them and make sure that they're good. Like, in the end, they control their life, but you're not going to be a bystander and enable them to keep on going on a road that's not healthy for them. And many of us, me included, have enabled people to keep on going on this road. And it's not something to feel bad about, because it's not something we know. It's not like we go through this and we do it, consciously. But we just do it because, like, subconsciously we want those feelings. So the solution to this all is to realize that, okay, I have to focus on me. I have to focus on what can I do that's intense. And most of the time it has something to do with going against society, with going against what everybody else is doing, because we can stand so much, we can take so much pain in a way, but it's like we can just as I always say, like, we can renounce love, which can be a negative thing, like I talked about in the last video. But we can also put ourselves out of this atmosphere that our society goes with. Most of us, and I'm not talking about INFJs, I just mean like society, most people are living with blindfolds on and going through this sphere of, I have a job, I go to work, I come home, I eat, I pay my bills, and then I go to bed and I do everything again. We all know many people like this, and we see them and we say, okay, but they're not happy. Like, you can tell, but they're still in this cycle of, those are the unspoken rules of society. And the intensity that we're lacking, that we're missing, that we're trying to get through, living through other people, which will never really work because we cannot control them. We cannot control how they're gonna go for their life, because right now we're just projecting on them. We think, oh, it would be so great for that person if they became like a politician. It's so in their nature. But probably like it will be something that you want. It's something that you project onto them, and you feel like, oh, there's something about that I'm projecting onto them that I need to do myself. It's always a mirror in a way. And God, it's so hot. Oh, excuse me. It's so warm here. So the point is, since we can take so much of, I can actually remove myself from these social rules that I have to live by, and I'm gonna go against the grain, and I'm gonna create something new, something that doesn't exist yet, something that is outside this fear. And this is where our strengths lay. This is how we can survive and thrive, because we see a solution to it, and we just wonder, why doesn't anybody else see the solution? They don't see it because it's your solution. It's your way of getting out of this, and we have the strength to pull through. And once you do that, and if you think about it, you know what it is. It's a feeling of, if I'm living my authentic self, then I'm not going to be a part of social norms. It would be like this for everybody. If everybody would live their authentic self, we would still create this new social norm, which is much more free, much more open, but most people cannot do it. But the people who actually take the time, do the work, and really go for this, they can do it. And by this, you really take yourself out of this equation, and at the same time you have that intensity that you're searching for. You're creating it, you're in control of it. You decide, how much of a new social norm am I creating by me stepping out of it? And this is the intensity we want to live. This is the intensity we seek so much. And just like that, we stop focusing on having those intense people in our life, and making sure that they keep on living these intense lives, although maybe that's not even the best for them. Maybe it's actually more important for them to calm down and to really, enjoy life, because they tend to be really anxious and, all over the place, and they need to calm down. And we're not the best people to calm them down while we are in this state of, okay, I'm keeping myself small, because the moment I break out, I'm gonna be above it. How I always said, my book, Below the Radar, Above the System, that's pretty much it. You kind of step out, you step off the, of the stage. People can't really see you anymore, but you're actually above the system, and you're doing your own thing. And this is where the intensity happens, and then you really connect with people on that level. So it's very, very interesting, and I don't think that we talk about it often enough, but it's necessary. It's necessary to confront ourselves. Why are we always around opinionated people? Why are we always around drama queens? Why are we always around people who have those intense tendencies? We have it because those people are very interesting to us. But the moment you actually really step out of it, and you bring all that intensity that you project onto other people into your life, all of those people won't seem that interesting to you anymore at all. They only seem interesting because you project things onto them. It's not even that you don't say, okay, they're not interesting people anymore. It's just a different thing. With some, there's still a good connection, but it's never as close as it was before, because before there was a codependency in it. I needed them to be intense. And now I don't even see that intensive part in them, because I'm not diving deep into their world. I'm diving deep into my world. I'm focusing on that and on creating something. And this intensity has, switched from me projecting onto others and trying to control others. If you want to believe it or not, you're actually controlling others, manipulating others in a way that's not healthy for them. And then you remove that and do it for yourself. And it's not something to be ashamed of. I'm not, trying to say, oh, you're doing something wrong in this. I can just tell you that I definitely did a lot of things wrong. And I know a lot of people who've, we've talked about and have been in similar situations because we don't stop our friends, really. We think like, oh, I'm gonna hurt them, or they're gonna dislike me when I show them that they're actually, not being reasonable, because we think like, oh, I'm gonna protect them. I let them like freak out, but I'm still gonna be there. If they go like too far, then I'll stop them. You probably will. But, we all will be better if we, concentrate on balancing all of our parts out, and not just by projecting things onto other people. People who are intense in their life will always have this tendency. And they can either be around people who are just like the opposite and enable them to actually be more intense, or they can individuate by making sure that they calm down, kind of like balance themselves out a little bit. And for us, it's the other way around. If we're like more of this numbed out, vast space, it's important to create some intensity through stepping out of the norm of doing something that is not, considered for everybody. And that will give our life a lot more meaning, a lot more fun, and a lot more intensity, and we'll feel much more alive. So let me know in the comments if you've experienced similar things, what kind of relationships you're having with friends, with, like intimate partners, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure you've also chosen people like this in your life, and when was the time when you realized, okay, I need to change that, and this is not actually healthy for me? Or maybe you're still in that space, which is not a bad thing, because then, you can realize, okay, how much do I actually want this, or how much can I actually create this intensity by myself? Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I talk to you next time, and have a great day. Bye.